triangles,
Pure cosmic dread.
waspy tentacles.
Practical as all hell.
That and so much more coming in this episode of the Deadlights Pod. Woo.
The devil's eyes. We all go a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
You're gonna need a bigger push.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
I'll play a game.
Wanna kill him all? Wanna kill him?
You soon to be mine. Alive, dead, lives.
Welcome to the Deadlights Podcast. I'm your host, Sam.
And I'm your host, Matt, bringing you guys yet another deep dive into horror.
Diving deep, going to places that no man has gone before. Please make sure you like, subscribe, turn on those notifications for us.
And hammer in those comments. We want to hear from y'all.
You know, it's funny. We talked about it last week on the podcast, how there's a certain progression of movies that, though we pick the movies, we didn't really plan how well they would kind of lead into each other.
Yeah, there wasn't a through line through the selection.
It was really just movies that you and I liked. But for some reason, it kind of feels like each of these movies is progressing in a way that feels natural. I mean, we got another movie coming at you that was made on a hope and a prayer.
Oh, yeah.
And they fucking did it.
Yeah, and I mean, to that point, I think it kind of just makes sense. You know, if you're going to find the lane of films you like and stuff, and we were like, let's not, stay too relevant to right now or anything. Let's span the decades past. And if so facto, it just lined up that way that these things sprinkled their ways in. And this one is one I was particularly excited for us to get to.
You picked
and
it.
for us to watch together. Get to watch it with you for the first time together, and I thoroughly enjoyed the process.
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
say.
It was fun. I had no idea what I was in for, and I got quite a treat.
Oh, yeah.
This week, we got The Void from 2016, written and directed by Jeremy Gillespie and Steven Kostanski. Shortly after delivering a patient to an understaffed hospital, a police officer experiences strange and violent occurrences seemingly linked to a group of mysterious hooded figures. Those big triangles on their heads. Oh, yeah. There it is.
Got some good representation here today for y'all.
We've got our own portal, as you'll learn, that we've opened up here at the Deadlight Studio. Like we said, you picked this one, and I just wanted to start off by why were you interested in this film, I guess, in general, and wanted to put it on the list?
So this goes back about 10 years. The film came out in 2016, so prior to the release, when the trailer dropped, it just came into my sphere, and I was hooked right away.
I can see it all before me. This isn't the end.
Getting into just the, Lovecraftian, Carpenter, body horror, representing with possession of the day. The genre is just a fun, insane space to be within. And the one thing that I really like that they mentioned about going into this was kind of like not having a lot of mythology or ethos specifically around it, having it be vague and open-ended and let things kind of like maybe be established thereafter the way, like in a sense, Alien did.
We're so lucky, the people that we got working on this. It's unreal.
To quit much less stressful jobs on big Hollywood movies to come work on our little monster movie is insane to me. And they brought so much expertise to the table that there was no way this would have gotten done otherwise.
So yeah, anyways, when it first hit, it just didn't visually disappoint. I was thrilled to see somebody take on a movie, hitting the practical effects to that extent, going that deep.
It really is a celebration of the practical effects, which, if you've heard a couple of these episodes so far, you will know that we are big fans of. And it came from people that just love that stuff too. So when you have that together and people are doing what they love, it it just seems like they get a good product. Should we get into it?
Oh, yeah.
Should we jump into the void in the can? Open up the void. The can, the filmmaking. I mean, I think it's only natural we should probably start with Jeremy Gillespie and Steven Kostanski, the two directors and writers who, before this, were part of a collective known as Astron 6, which was a Canadian-based production company who was mostly known for doing practical effects inspired by like 80s centric aesthetics and mostly horror comedies.
So in 2011, we were wrapping up on the movie Father's Day, and Steve and I had just moved to Toronto. We felt like we had kind of done a lot of like tongue-in-cheek stuff.
All those things had a very specific aesthetic to them. This was their first stab at what they called a real movie.
We talked a lot about making an actual horror movie. We talked a lot about the Silent Hill games. The horror is cosmic and it's so big, you can't really wrap your head around it.
They had been talking about this concept, I think they said, since 2011. And it kind of started with, like you said, those creature designs, this like cosmic level horror, Lovecraftian horror, things you can't even wrap your mind around.
Yeah, they really credited Silent Hill for that, for again, that kind of environment that's very unexplainable and like has that cosmic like beyondness to it that is just like, yeah, very vexing.
We didn't have like a script for it or a plan. I knew that I had effects that I wanted to try. And so that was kind of the origin of it for me, was just thinking up gags that I could do that would look cool in a 1.5-minute long trailer. We didn't really put any money into it, so it's just whatever I had lying around and whatever was in the shops that I was working at the time, I would, funnel materials out to build our creatures and our gags.
Essentially from 2011, I think, until 2013, they had an opportunity to go to the Frontiers International Co-Production Market, which is essentially, it takes production teams and pairs them with people in the industry. And for that, they had created this concept trailer. And from there, they met Casey Walker, who is the producer on this film and really the third head of this entire machine.
The first time I saw the proof of concept teaser at Frontiers, I was completely blown away, and it was pretty evident that so is everyone else in the room.
Because it's so creature effects driven, it needed a lot of prep time, and it required a lot of materials and work to get the creature stuff ready.
We turned to Indiegogo and the public to raise funds in advance. The outpouring of support was tremendous.
Which then brought them, I think, to 2015. It took them that long to actually find the financing, and they got all the way up to production, had a bunch of their creatures built.
The lead up to the production in August was crazy. Steve had been working for 3 months straight around the clock in the creature shop on one side of Toronto. And at the same time, Jeremy is up in Sault Ste. Marie with the art department trying to put all the finishing touches on the set and getting all the detail that we know is really important to this movie. And I was trying to cast up the movie. All three heads of the Hydra were in different locations.
They spent months, 3 months, scouting locations, getting the locations picked and built and the creatures built and working. Literally the day before they're about to shoot, they get shut down.
I had to put us on hiatus because one of our financiers had dropped out.
Where did all the stuff go?
We had to lock it up in the back room. We had to stop everything, unfortunately.
Oh, back to square one.
It took a while. It was a lot of hard work, but I found some new partners who believed in the guys and I as much as the team that was behind us, and we put it all back together.
And then the movie goes down again.
So at this point, we have not shot a single frame of the movie, and we'd spent something like almost a third of our budget. It bought us some prep time, which was great, especially for some of the creature stuff. But we lost shooting days We're forced to basically just have 20 11-hour days to shoot this whole movie.
So they really had to condense everything down. Shot lists that they had were slashed. They had to really
I had to do it chronological too, for how much confusion is going to ultimately happen in the progression for these characters to like not fuck up continuity. It was just, the easiest way to definitely trudge forward.
I just really wanted to explain all of that because it took 4 years in a lot of different places that they had to go just to get to the first day of shooting. And it seemed like they weren't even going to get to the first day of shooting at a certain point. So I just think that journey up until the first day is so interesting because we have another story and another way of how a movie can get made. It's not all one way. And I think the movies that we've seen so far have each had their own path to getting made. And it's never the same path. It's never a straight path. And they said it themselves.
The fact that like a movie even gets made is a miracle.
Yes.
Again, pulling in like the essence of the whole crew and the energy that was needed across the board for everybody. They really credited Aaron Poole for his energy on set, that they were like, was like, ecstatic, or just like put, an electric force in everybody to kind of like feed off of that energy and to bring that same approach to, each scene that they were going at, whether it was cast or crew.
The old cliche of like 99% of directing is casting, that's totally true. The cast came together beautifully. They were such a dream.
And they really gelled with each other too,
Totally.
which was nice. Like on a movie like this, you got blood and action and all kinds of shit happening. And so to have people actually kind of like, coagulate into a little family is really nice to see. And that's what helps you get through the like horrible process, is everybody kind of being on the same page, helping each other along.
Right.
Aaron brought an intensity to this movie that I think elevated everybody else in the cast and the crew as well.
He's very intense.
He had this process where I wouldn't say he was method, but it was like approaching that.
Kind of like to take a running start, so to speak.
Before a take, we would hear him on the other side of like some double doors, just smashing a chair to pieces, like basically tearing the place apart. When everybody else around sees that, like that kind of commitment and like intensity, it's almost like a lightning rod that fuels everybody.
And I think it was great how the cast came together. And this does go towards Jeremy and Steven's directing style of giving the cast ownership over their characters, not being so tied to the words that they wrote, really allowing these actors to build out these characters, play in the space. I think that giving that trust in the cast then allowed the cast to commit even more to the characters, commit more to the roles, and have a better product. Because I would say overall, the acting in this film was very natural.
So they're not tied to the script and they're not, precious about it at all. They're giving us a tremendous amount of leeway.
I mean, the ultimate dream when you're making a movie is that you want the other people to be as excited as you are, so that everybody's trying to make the best thing. And I feel like we really had that.
And I love the setup of the movie where we really start in this hospital that is being moved because it was damaged in a fire.
Closest emergency services is still Marsh County. Not sure what's left of it after the fire. I think they're moving, but they're still listed on duty.
And then once we get inside the hospital, we can't leave because these hooded figures, we don't know why, but they're armed. They want to kill us. They want to keep everyone inside. I kind of love the function of this movie where we're trapped in this one area, but the area that we're trapped in is a supernatural area and can change and morph. And it reminds me a lot of this board game called The Betrayal at the House on the Hill, where the idea is you're working together as a group of people and you walk into a haunted house, and the haunted house is built as you explore the rooms. So every single game is different depending on how you build out the board, and rooms can be moved. It's very supernatural, very ghost haunted house.
Did you find it?
Is there some kind of up, basement?
No, what are you talking about?
A staircase going down.
What?
I think how they shoot it too, we have a lot, it's dark for sure, but we have these really long, these strong light sources from like flashlights, overhanging lights, the police siren lights too. So it's dark, but we have these really, really intense points of light, and it makes everything seem a little bit supernatural and a little bit off kilter.
I mean, yeah, and to reinforce that right from the beginning, we establish outside this like crack house den that apparently they mentioned as I was actually somebody's quite nice home, that they're like easy way to make it look like, a condemned space, paper the windows with newspaper. It's a little trick that one of their effects guys had up the sleeve. Burning light that we get, the kind of silhouettes of them, was really played into the that imagery that we were gonna start to get more of. And I often have been known to complain in movies about sometimes darkness, like feeling like it's a little bit of an escapism to avoid showing some effect or something that they're trying to hide away a little bit more. This film leans into a lot of that in ways, but it delivers so well.
Yeah, they're not just doing it to hide it; they are doing it to make the shot interesting too.
What's his story, Danny?
He's bleeding, Bev.
Take care of you. Beverly, we got to get him on a monitor and in to see Dr. Powell. Let's go.
And so we get to this hospital after that very jarring scene, and we meet pretty much the whole cast of the movie. That being Officer Daniel and his wife still, Allison. He says wife. He's never
very
says
estranged
ex.
of each other in a way.
Yeah, there's something going on there. Not really sure what the tension is. And then we got the hospital staff, including Dr. Powell. And again, the first time we watched this, I had never seen this movie, and I also had no idea what this was about. I had nothing. I had never seen a trailer. So when we're starting off normal hospital stuff, okay, cool. Not really sure where this is going to go. Really take a hard left turn when we walk in on Bev the nurse stabbing a patient in the eyeball.
This isn't my face.
What? Bev. No, don't do that. Bev!
It's not me.
No, don't do that. Bev.
Can you help me?
No. Beverly, stop!
I remember the first time too. I mean, the quick, the unknown nature of why those forces unveil was starting to cut off your own face. And I mean, it's not too long thereafter that it quickly envelops further.
After that, the trooper shows up to get James, who's the guy that Officer Daniel brought in.
We got a major bloodbath about 20 miles north of here. Looks like he tore the place up like a butcher shop.
That's also when the father and son from that scene show up as well, trying to get James.
Whoa! Okay, drop it! Drop it! Fuck you. Get the fuck down! Put it down! Stay calm! Whoa! Everybody just stay calm! Hey, look, just step away from me!
It's all kind of happening at the same time as Bev. We see some fucking crazy tentacles coming out of her fucking mouth.
Waspy tentacles.
God, that got me too. Because I had, again, no idea what was coming in this movie. And it was just like a tracking shot up to her face. Whoa.
Do something! Fucking Tony! Oh, fucking God, please! Do something! Fucking Tony!
Takes the trooper and drags him away with her tentacles. was interesting watching the behind the scenes thing, because they would cut to people working in the workshop and they would show their names, and it would be like special effects creator / on-set creature. So people are very much doubling up roles. Like, it's very much a group effort to get all of this together.
Yeah, and they also knew it so intricately that, like, the mechanics, because a lot of them were apparently very, I mean, as the monsters were very awkward themselves, the suits and fitting into them was a very awkward, uncomfortable, fucking hellish position in and of itself.
Today we were shooting the Beverly Monster. So we had a soft axe because there was somebody in there. Obviously, we didn't want to hurt them.
Poor Michael, who's inside this thing as like the front of Beverly. He has like Daniel and Mick like literally just wailing on him.
And I ripped the top chunk of my axe off because we were just going so vigorously at this thing. That was really fun.
Should we get into the meat? Anything else in the can?
Let's trudge forward.
Let us trudge forward. Into the hospital we go. In the meat. Certainly a lot of meat in this movie, as we said. Meat coming out of meat, coming out of meat. Voids coming out of voids, coming out of voids. But what this movie is actually talking about, we kind of talked about them playing with cosmic forces that are so far beyond our comprehension that we can't even begin to understand the horrors.
I like the idea in horror of sort of the unknowable, and I like the idea of building a story around that.
And I think in this movie specifically, they're pairing that with grief. They're pairing that with this emotional force that sometimes can feel so big that we can't wrap our head around getting over it. So in this movie, we have a doctor, Dr. Powell, who lost his daughter and is willing to sacrifice anything and go anywhere to get her back.
Hi, Richard. I'm sure it's hard for you to understand. Beverly found it difficult as well. Losing my daughter changed me. But I'm doing what I have to make it right.
So where does grief take you? In this case, it's the void. And his actions aren't only going to affect him, but it seems like his plan is to make the entire world like this deathscape.
All these years, haven't you ever wished to save someone beyond saving? No matter what the cost? Well, losing Sarah destroyed me. But it also compelled me to find a solution. You'd be surprised at the things you find when you go looking.
It's not even just him, that it ripples out to affect all these people.
Well, and that's pretty, you dabble in the dark arts far enough. He's consumed. Like, he's definitely not the mind, body, soul individual he was when he was first grief-struck and going into trying to find these answers, because, he has such a well-intended what is Christopher Welsh? What's
his name is Kenneth Welsh.
Kenneth Welsh, my apologies. Great choice, great actor. Really, getting a lot of very compassionate and stuff, like vibes from him from the get-go, and to the point where we see him get stabbed, and you're like, no, we're not going to lose the fucking only doctor that we have at the hospital.
No way. What, right for the neck?
And so, to have a little bit of that nice dichotomy between when he basically unveils, himself, and then like this plan.
Do you know where you go when you die? You travel on, reborn into something else, like a caterpillar becoming a moth. And until now, I've only been able to trap the moth in its cocoon. I admit early on, I made mistakes. And some of those earliest mistakes are still down here with us. They want to die, but I won't let them.
It's all hell-bent on these insane experiments. The reason we have a hospital fire is these creatures, it's not him trying to control the creatures, it was the creatures trying to kill themselves because they couldn't stand existence. But he didn't want them to die. They also can't really die.
The second time I watched it, that shot of that creature slamming its head into the pole, that had a lot more meaning. After realizing what's going on, I was like, oh, that guy really wants to die.
Yeah.
Which again goes back to this idea of like when someone is so grief stricken and the trauma is so deep, it can ripple out and like consume everyone.
I lost my daughter to the abyss. But tonight, I am calling her back.
And I think it's a great pairing that we have here going on where our main character, Officer Daniel, has also lost a child. And so for him and Allison, there's more incentive to get to the root of what's going on, because for him, he is trying to protect the one person that he still has, which is his wife. And then for her, she's trying to protect this pregnant woman who I'm assuming she's kind of like identifying with as well.
Her contractions are still spread out, but she's having abdominal pain, which is a bad sign.
Okay, I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
That means that we can't move her. I need to go to the med supply room.
So,
I'll go.
alone? No, no. That's out of the question.
I'm doing this.
You're not even. If this is because of the baby, then you need to get a fucking mental check.
This is not about us.
I do appreciate too the father-son dynamic, because I did appreciate a little bit of the dynamic that we ultimately get with them. Because the dad, when we first see him, is like, this guy's just a fucking asshole.
I want him. Okay, look. All right. I think we all agree that we need to get the hell out of this building, right? These personal differences, they're...
Stop.
No one is going anywhere. Okay.
And he has a good amount of like empathy that kind of comes through in the end, and then to like an ultimate kind of sacrificial place that he gets to as well to allow his son to be able to escape.
We have these two characters who, yes, are quote unquote minor characters, but we still have some sort of emotional journey that they go through. We don't really have a lot of people in this movie that aren't going through some sort of change by the end, which in a horror movie, you don't always get that. You get a lot of kill baits. You get a lot of people who are just there to die. Which a lot of people did die in this movie. Yeah, but we kind of cared about them.
Yeah, the only kill bait we had was like the first dude in the hospital bed, and then what was her name? The nurse,
Kim.
Kim, yeah, like in training. But the funny thing is they set her up very much to be easy kill bait. Talking all this shit and everything, and like wanting to come in and do some weird procedures with him, and then like I shouldn't be in this like fuckhole shit place.
No, there are things called computers now.
Computers put files in boxes. Thank you.
Given a lot of reasons to be like, all right, well, you're gonna easily get yourself in a situation alone and get offed. She makes it to the end.
She makes it.
One of the only two. Her and the muted son.
Yep. Let us get into the cook.
Yeah,
Let us
absolutely.
cook this meat. Ooh. And this is where I kind of wanted to dive a little more into like the symbolism of some things that we have going on here, because like you said, this is a very ambiguous world and movie. It can be taken a lot of different ways. And they use a lot of different kind of symbolism throughout. Obviously, a big one being the triangle. Triangle is the door that opens the portal to a different world. We see it everywhere on these cloaks, on doors. And so, I mean, the triangle can mean a lot of different things. It's delta, which means change or difference, which does happen in this movie. People change. They become very different, whether that's a good thing or not. I was looking up a little more like the symbology of triangles. It can also mean creation, which again can be taken in a positive and a negative way. In this movie, Dr. Powell, he wasn't trying to make good creations. His creations were horrifying.
While he still calls them beautiful.
Isn't she beautiful?
But again, I just love how they attached so much to this symbol, and they kind of really committed to it, because there's so much that you can take from just this very simple shape.
Yeah. Yeah, very simple, but very effective. And man, I just loved even that little glimpse that we saw of the kind of ritual room, or what were you calling it before?
The temple.
The temple.
The most challenging build has been the temple.
It is most definitely the biggest build. And we've taken over what was the smaller gym to do it. And it's a magnificent set. It's 60 feet long, 40 feet wide, 17 feet tall.
We've dressed that all out to look like concrete. It's wood and foam that's then been acetated for texture and then base painted in 4 colors of scenic dripping to age it. There's 25 gallons of paint on the walls. It's a lot of paint.
That set is like a perfect encapsulation of ambition, because you don't do things like that on tiny budget movies.
And they just had this huge like wooden cutout triangle that we get this little edge line around the perimeter of it where light's starting to bleed out. And then basically he like engages into the portal. So as it opens up, it's just, they're slowly wheeling it back and just blasting so much light. So it's just like this silhouette, like eclipsing away, while like we just like flooded with so much light. It was, yeah.
That's how it was. And they said they built it in a gym.
Yeah.
So, I mean, geez, like when I saw that in the movie for the first time, did not think that was a practical move. Them pulling the entire triangle out. Whoa, that was sick.
That, we had the collapsing wall scene, again, going into the extent that they find themselves in this world. And we got what they call like the meat walls or something, because they just put all those dead chunks of meat and flesh.
The art department had done a phenomenal job of building this thing, because basically going in, like I think we already started shooting before that they started making that thing, and it was kind of a question mark as to if it could even be done. I think the solution, like the practical, achievable solution, it's something that like by all like practicality shouldn't really work.
It's just a matter of flats, which are walls, and piano hinges, and some stretchy material, and expanding foam, blood, gore, and guts, and a lot of manpower.
We had everybody behind those walls operating them.
And it wasn't just the guys building it or the guys painting it or us, the directors, and myself, and even you guys, the EPK crew out there. We had the office staff, we had PAs, everyone was behind there trying to make that thing work, and did make it work.
Everybody got covered in blood. Everybody had a good time. We got to crush the fetus monster.
Hey, slow down. Stop. Okay, that's about it there, guys.
I did not think that was a practical effect when we watched that movie. It looked so good. It was so seamless. Of course, looking back on it, probably my second watch, I was like, oh, wow. Like, yeah, that is an actual, like, walls buckling in. And it's just really impressive and cool to think about.
And we're so saturated with so much practical imagery of this monsters that one thing that we haven't touched on yet, going back to these disciples, they could not get a good look of them outside. Not to mention, again, we were supposed to be shooting in the summer. This was November. Coming into December, we're getting cold, and it was raining on them the whole like exterior shot outside the hospital.
You would go through the trouble of placing the wardrobe just right. The hoods are sitting nicely.
Can we just pull his left cuff down a bit?
And in the time it takes you to run back to the monitors and call action, the wind has blown their cloaks and their hoods askew.
It's looking terrible. It looks like a bunch of like clan Santa Clauses, basically. And because of that, basically every single disciple shot in the movie is a VFX shot.
For a movie that sells itself on practical effects, there's a surprising number of visual effects.
It's like you get so engrossed into the things they do in a practical sense that look so great. The little things that were sprinkled in that are visual effects are not really tainted into where we don't want to see it tainted, and so to that point and stuff, and in a more so mundane area, you didn't even pick up on it.
And that's, I think how CGI should be used, you know, clean things up, enhance things, but don't cover it. You know, you've done so much pre-work, like, let's see it.
When George Miller did, you know, it's like the go-to, I can say, of the last 10 years ago, going back when we got Mad Max Fury Road, is just like, we're making all these vehicles, a lot of practicality of the flames, the jumps, the explosions. But then, you know, it's like we're driving in a desert. We're going to just amplify a lot of the exterior environment around that and it's like the saturation of things. But let so much more of that true ingenuity across the board of all these creators, collaborators from creating to then operating, the succinctness of it all together. It's just such a fucking cool order of operations to execution.
Just always looks better. I just can't. It just always looks better. The one thing that I did want to mention in The Cook, which is something that I think is probably my biggest bugaboo of the film, is I think that the acting performances are really good. This might have just come actually from like a script issue for me. The history between Daniel and Allison of them losing a child and them being estranged. Like when we first see them come together in the hospital, their first conversation to me doesn't feel as weighty as I think it should.
You might need something a little stronger if you're gonna get that stain out.
No, whatever, fuck. I can do my own laundry.
Brought you coffee.
Nice. I was looking for that.
It's mine now, so don't you get any ideas.
Right.
And to me, if we're going through like a very traumatic experience, like losing a child, I feel like there should be more weightiness to it, at least for us as the audience to understand, like there is some like tense history here that we maybe don't even want to talk about. So that kind of lightness, jokingness around that they had to establish them, it didn't land for me. I wish they, I guess, established better how traumatic of an experience that was for both of them.
Yeah, to me, to your point exactly, with the first time I saw it, I remember that in the essence, from that first engagement that we see with them, and I was very much like, they had like a one-night stand a couple weeks ago or something. It's like, that's the energy that you kind of pick up from that, not like a deeper weighted sentimentality that was like, yeah, we collectively have been through some heavy trauma.
Yeah, I just, because he's our main character, I really wanted there to be a better setup for that, because the movie is so heavily steeped in these feelings of grief and specifically losing a child. I really wanted to feel that more with this guy. I felt his intensity. I think Aaron Poole brought a really high level of intensity to the character.
Where's Allie?
Well, she went to get some medicine for Maggie.
Where?
The med room.
Jesus.
She said there wasn't anything to worry about inside.
Are you guys in the same fucking building? Pretty stupid to go running off by herself. Okay. I'm pretty certain that you can beat the shit out of me, but I consider it my special privilege. I hate my wife right now, so if you could kindly shut the fuck up.
But I wanted there to be more of like an emotional, like weightiness to his character, where you want him to, like, you know, I don't know, do it for his kid. But I didn't really feel that. No,
and to that point too, there was like, for the first time I saw it and everything, I had a lot of ambiguity about him, and that's what I always disliked the most. And I didn't think he did a bad job, but I felt kind of aimless with a lot of like the direction of things. Being able to take more of the deeper dive and understand, especially where they were establishing this movie from, the script coming very secondhand, the storyline secondhand. They had to do a lot, you know, on the fly on their own to really create the story arc for their own character to go through it. So like, I give more, you know, kind of grace and stuff in that space. But I 100%. That's where you're kind of left the most lacking within everything. But ultimately, they did like the bones the foundation for what this story is and stuff is a very intriguing one still, and like a space of like being able to expand out further on, or somebody else, you know, tapping into what Dr. Powell. We have Light Powell and Dark Powell. That's what they called. That's what they were calling him, I guess, on set. It was like when he transcends into his entity form. Whatever.
There's also medium rare Powell, which is just his face.
Yeah, that's very true.
Just his face is burnt.
Yeah, rare Powell.
But I also, like, to your point, like, I actually do love where the movie ends. I mean, we do have Daniel and Allison. They're in the void. They're in this other reality that is like full of these cosmic forces that we can't even understand. But then we have the last shot of them holding hands. So I think that does do a very nice rounding out of like, grief can feel so all consuming, and no, you might not ever get over it, but at least we are two people that can be in it together. So it's not like a happy ending, but I think it's more of like a realistic ending.
This isn't the end.
Yes.
I wanted to point out as well, so what we got, the first season of Stranger Things was 2015. Is that right?
Yeah.
So 1 and 2 are like Demogorgon and like what they got, the Demodogs or whatever they call the second one, / the Mind Flayer is attacking. So we don't get Vecna until the 3rd season. Whatever year that was, I'm not entirely sure. It was after the Void.
It was definitely after the Void.
Dark Powell is very much a Vecna. The Vecna space is heavy. That you live very similar. I hope the Duffer Brothers or somebody saw the Void and had a little fun influence. Not only the look, the voice too.
I spent my life resisting death, but now I understand. I must embrace it. There's a reason you hide from them.
You guys decide, is this too close to Vecna? Yeah, because when he came out, you and I both were like, that's Vecna. Shall we get into the thrill?
Now let's get to the thrill.
Let's get to the thrill. Let's throw it up. And really, this section I wanted to dedicate really to the special effects, the practical effects that we got going on here. Because we got a lot of them. You know, once we kind of realize that we are dealing with other dimensional monsters and we start venturing down to the lower levels of the hospitals, some levels that weren't there before, we start getting a showcase really of the cool special effects and environment that Jeremy and Steven are building.
We're in hell.
We got Troy's audition and my jaw just dropped. And we didn't know what to make of it. We were like, what are we doing with this guy? Like, we have to do something.
Seeing his video, it was like a no-brainer to bring him on.
Yeah.
We basically created the creature around him for what he could do.
Yeah, and I mean, the pacing for us going down into that too, I really, really enjoy. It's just like that first embarking is just like, no, you're coming with us. James, thank you. They're forcing James down with them. So, you know, again, James, we get him from the very beginning running out of this crack house, terrified of all this shit he has witnessed. The father and son think he had something to do with it, all the while he was not. He was just lured into there as all these other, like, crack fiends and addicts were.
I met a girl on the road, and she told me she could help me score crystals, so I followed her. It's a fucking pill house, except it wasn't a pill house.
What was it? Talking devil worshipping?
No, I don't believe in the devil. Okay, but I believe in this. He made people change.
And he's warning them all the while going down. But yeah, once we get into that kind of like workshop of sorts and then start to realize that some of this stuff is actually still alive.
That's rough. And it leads to, unfortunately, Daniel finding Allison, who has been taken by Dr. Powell.
What have you done? I've given her what she wanted. She's a mother.
Like, that was the other space that, like, I wanted, you know, and that's, again, what we were speaking about early on, and what they kind of wanted was things that are unexplainable, and, like, to not necessarily have to have the answers there. I just wanted a little bit more through, like, from her almost being inseminated with this thing. We see it, like, bubble gutting inside of her from, like, almost this, like, almost POV shot, but you kind of, I think it's, like, the soft top of her face. And you're just seeing this, like, swirling in her stomach. And then when Officer Daniels finally gets to her, gets to his wife, gets to Allison, he sees her initially and talks to her as herself. And, you know, and they have this little, like, moment back and forth and everything. And it's like, looks like, you know, it's a very beautiful, like, scene, well lit and everything. And then it just, like, falls into, like, the dungy ashes of everything. And she's just completely cavitied, opened up, tentacles, like, spanning across the room everywhere. So it was just like, you know, the other creatures he had, they were alive. It's just like, why did we not get any, like, living kind of variant with her within that? There was just a few things where I was just kind of left a little.
Well, we do get another fetus creature, which is a lot different looking than this. So my question was that thing that, like, grew out of her, was that, like, their unborn baby that then became this, like, crazy creature or whatever? Or did he inseminate her with something? It wasn't very clear in that moment.
There was more monsters originally. I think we lost 2 of them. Well, one of them kind of evolved into one of the creatures you see in the movie now, the Allison monster. But it was originally a lot crazier and bigger and, yeah, more of a set piece.
Do all of them go to the void, though, too? Like, Daniels pushes Dr. Powell into it to just close the portal, and they're stuck there. He's then with Allison. Are we to assume Beverly's in there too somewhere? Like, human figured Beverly?
I would assume, and also Dr. Powell.
Yeah, I mean, Powell himself, of course. Yeah, that was the obvious other, like, end of that.
Dr.
It's just
Vecna?
Like, where's Vecna hiding now?
He's somewhere in there.
Dark Powell.
Yeah, another one of those moments where these are questions where it's like, okay, like, we don't necessarily need the answers to, but when we really start thinking about it, it's like, wait a second, what is going on here?
Well, and especially when you have a movie that does have a lot of ambiguity that's, like, moving through like this, but you have enough that you can kind of, like, suture something, you just want to close. You want to just close all the doors and just have some spaces, of course. It's nice to have that open-endedness, but again, to their point of, like, wanting it, like, how Ridley Scott went first forward with Alien and then creating a lot of what you know, mythology and ethos would further be explored and explained and made sense of. I wish we could get a return to the void.
Yeah. Well, they've talked about having a sequel, and they were very vague in this article that I read, but it kind of sounds like the rights of the void are not owned by them. And so if there was going to be a sequel, it wouldn't really be up to them. It sounds like they would want to do it. They said there is a world there that there's so much to explore, but unfortunately, because of legal movie business stuff, it kind of sounds like it's not in their control anymore. So will we ever return to the Void universe? I don't know. They're still making movies, which is great. Steven Kostanski recently directed Psycho Gorman, which is definitely more like the 80s horror comedy style, returning to that kind of form. But they're still making stuff. They're still in the industry. They're still making monsters. They're involved in Stranger Things in the art department. So they're working. They're working. And I hope to see more of their visions. One of the things I wanted to highlight in this was the location again that they found.
A location scout up north took us to a high school, and I knew within minutes of walking in there that we were going to use this not just for the hospital, but it was going to be our studio.
Where you have your production offices, you have your creature shop, your sets are all located in one space.
We had to cover, build fake walls, to do anything to hide all that locker business, and do it economically and do it in such a way that it just didn't look like just a sheet of drywall.
Didn't come without some quirks, though. They were losing power at random times. They were...
Yeah, and on their first location scout, they lost power. So they were like, all right, well, this is probably going to be a problem, but no, nobody listened.
Lost power on the second floor, or the part that we're shooting in anyway. Which isn't great.
This can't happen on any day.
Yeah.
We can't afford this at all.
I said it 100 times in this school. The first time we came to this school, the power went out. I have Cassandra complex, where I predict things and nobody listens to me. It's the truth.
I listen, Jared.
Steve listens. Not that that means anything.
Again, another theme with this film. At every turn, they were dealing with something, and the location wasn't anything different. But I will say what they did with that location, amazing. Hard pressed, you can never tell me that wasn't a hospital.
Yeah, and the testament to that too, in persevering through everything and them leading things practical forward. Practical forward looks great. It always has a more authentic feel, but it comes with the aspect of the unknown, of shit not coming together and working day of, or in general, or how it ends up visually looking.
Beautiful thing about practical effects is that they look great. They work best, in my opinion, like above CG, whatever. They look great on camera, but when you're on such a tight timeline, they need to work the first time through, and that's not how practical effects work. It's like a process of kind of like getting it there.
And we didn't have any time. Basically, had to show up on set with a thing, which due to necessity and due to budget had to be built to be modular and serve multiple purposes, which just means there's multiple things that can go wrong on it.
Ultimately, what we get in a lot of shots that stick in my head, always with this movie, were a lot of these kind of fill-in-the-gap insert shots to work around sequences they couldn't fully flush out. And it's just like, you think like, oh, this is kind of like a fallback method or something, and it's just like we kind of have to, like, you know, maybe in the mind's eyes, like kind of cheat this, you know, to make this just like look this way or get around this. But sometimes you have those Bob Ross happy accidents where it's just like those become like a very striking, significant and like in the head, in the mind's eye moment.
Thankfully, we were able to do inserts after the fact to kind of fill out some of the sequences.
And I think, is it the Beverly monster that has like the hooves?
Oh no, that was Baby. That was Fetus.
That is Fetus Baby,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, that's towards the end. When Fetus Baby comes out, and yeah, because there's some other like bagged bodies on the ground with like a bag over the head, and it just smashes through one of them. But we just get, it's like a couple of these just insert shots on just like the front torso of these two big hooves. Disgusting meat.
Oh, like so muscular
Yeah,
too. Oh my,
yeah.
she's fucking ripped.
Yeah, ripped, and then it's just like, you know, like fleshy skin on like the hoof and everything. It's just like, it already just has this like tangible, like what just looks like it hurts, you know, too. And it is just fucking masochisting its way through.
See, those are the moments where I feel like if you were on a bigger budget film, they would be like, we'll just fix it with CGI. We'll do something with CGI. No, they still went the hard route and they shot things practically. Yeah, it was probably in someone's apartment and like these insert shots that probably they weren't totally what they didn't envision in the first place. But it didn't matter because they were practical still. They worked still so well to stitch everything together.
Yeah, and easy tactics. Like we go back to James earlier when Beverly first transformed. So actually the Beverly one, we get a lot of those tentacles there. The gurney's like flipped over on its side and he's handcuffed to it, stuck. I think they had like a bunch of extras or somebody who were basically back there working with tentacles too, just like hidden behind.
Bubble wrap.
Yeah, that's great.
Bubble wrap wrapped up with latex nerdies?
Yep.
That's
the way to do
genius.
it.
That's awesome. Those are your tentacles?
The key used to have chain in it, so it's got some weight to it.
And then again, that the element of less is more. Bigger budget, fully flushing out, seeing the entirety of everything always, which again is something I say I want, but sometimes I get disappointed by getting to see too much of it and you lose that luster and that allure. So it's always like such a funny back and forth argument I have in my mind about that idea and concept where it's just like, well, dude, think about everything that you truly love in the space and everything. And yes, you wanted to see more of it, but it leaves you wanting that, which is a good thing to have. again, those inserts were always like some of the ones that were like the strongest striking imagery.
Yeah. Well, because it creates it's now a collaborative experience with the viewer, because the viewer is coloring in the rest of that insert with the monster. What I will say, the one creature that we got a pretty good look at was, I think, their coup de grace character, which was this fetus monster that gets splashed out of Maggie, the pregnant girl.
And ultimately that's Powell's daughter, right? I mean, that was like the one that he was.
She's beautiful. She's a beautiful girl.
She's a good looking girl.
Yeah, totally. Don't kill me.
Everything has led to this. Our apotheosis.
Let's get into the ride. Let's jump into the final ride of the movie. I think that there's very little fat to cut from this movie. It's a thrill ride. It's a horror house. You know, we're exploring our way and going deeper and deeper inside of this cosmic maze, essentially. And I think that just gives this movie a lot of legs.
Even just like knowing the amount of like, however the distribution got to like the States too, and like kind of had a little bit more of that widespread. Cause like, you know, I'm not gonna say like at this point, like I was following such niche like horror pages or something like that would have been like, hey, gotta be on the lookout for this. Like it may have been a few of the standards I watched at the time, Slash Film, which isn't even a horror film page, but they, you know, do a lot of just news about, you know, what's coming out and otherwise in production. And I don't remember where it first kind of filtered into my attention, but just knowing that it was this small crew production out of Ontario, like none of the production company houses and stuff, even from small base ones or something like the start of the film, I had recognized, and to just know that it made that, you know, enough of that type of a wave. Yeah. And like it seems like it's gonna have this, like with whatever that distribution, like you were talking about, or whatever the rights are held up within it. Like I don't, you know, it's like we're not getting any new or more physical copies of it. What's already out there, you pretty much have to buy pre-owned from somebody else for like $100 on the low end. This is pretty much what I'm seeing. So I want to look further into this space, this void space, and figure out where these copies are, why we're not getting more. If we can get a 4K, you know, I'm all over that.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
I
don't really know where it is, where the rights are, but there's something going on in the background with it. I'm really glad that you brought this movie to the podcast. And again, I don't know why it's all worked out, but like this is another very good example of a ragtag team coming together to get behind something that they love, and that's making monsters, making cool ass practical effects.
In the end, we did it. We have a movie, and no one can take that away from us.
It was an ambitious project, maybe a little too ambitious, but we survived. We didn't die making it, physically at least, and no one can take that from us either.
The Void. 2016. Wow. Let's get to these Smashed Pumpkins, shall we? What are you thinking? The Void, Smashed Pumpkins.
Yeah, The Void for me, coming in and around on it, and a lot, you know, again, for us taking the dive back behind, you gain, you know, a little bit more layers of appreciation or understanding constraints that one worked with that, you know, might give you a little bit more consideration around certain criteria that we are working through across here. I sit at a solid 3-3.
3-3. Nice. I think that's great. I think it's very, very solid. And do we have a creepiest kitty from you?
Creepiest kitty from me is going to be one that we already touched on, but it really gave me the visceral little Wiggy Wiggles. Was the waspy tentacles of the Bev monster when she gets the trooper. Trooper's down on the ground and they just fucking stab right into his face through, like, into his mouth, like right through the eyes. You just see him moving, like working in.
You can hear him choking too.
Yeah, he's like choking on it. It's just that whole. In this one again, because we're up in the hospital still, so we have some lighting. It's a little bit more lit, and so you're just kind of really held stuck in this. Where like nobody's really doing all too much to help him out of the situation either. Like, it's like, oh no,
oh God, Trooper. Sorry, brother.
That is my creepiest kitty.
That is fair. I am actually going to be very similar. Mine is going to be a solid 3. 3 Smash Pumpkins. And I think that there's just so much that works for me for this movie. I mean, obviously it's a celebration of these practical effects, of these monsters. And, you know, aside from some of the, like, you know, maybe like script things that didn't really come together, and some of this ambiguity that maybe is still a little bit too ambiguous, I think that it really does work. The second watch I had, I still really enjoyed it. I do think it's a really exciting movie, and a very driving movie. And just, again, like you said, when you see behind the curtain of how these are made, just like the fact that this is what we got from that, like, it makes it more impressive. So solid 3. And then my creepiest kitty is actually going to come right before that. It's just one shot. It's the tracking shot of moving up Bev, and then we see her face, and they look like spider hands, but I think their tentacles just like, again, the first time I saw that, I had no idea what that shot was going to lead to.
Like spider crab legs. They have like, because they have, so I know we don't know the exact like material, but they had some sort of foam based, like bubbly something that they wrapped with like this webbing or whatever, so it's like all protruding through all the holes, but then through that they had these little plastic rods to give it a little bit more weight and move. So it's just like, and knowing that in the aftermath and then seeing them, it's not like it's a giveaway, but it's just, you can see the fluidity of how that movement is now. But yeah, you just get like 4 or so of these things coming out of an open mouth, head back, and yeah, it's absolutely like, and it's like, yeah, it's the first thing you see into this type of space. I mean, we've seen Beverly kill that early on patient really quick, but like this, and again, like how you said, it's just this little tracking shot. We're like, oh, we're just going to cut to the room that Bev's just still in, dead, and like slowly pan across over to her face. And it's very unnerving, but that was the type of shit that is just like, it's excitingly fucking grotesque. It's like, I don't know what the allure and draw is of this type of like realm of body horror, but it's just fucking so crazy that it's just like, what the fuck is going on? Why is that happening?
Yes. Wow. I was not expecting to see that. I've not seen anything like that before. Wow. Whoa,
and the fetus monster, I mean, the fetus monster was like a close runner up. A few of the things in the butcher shop in the dark, we get the protuberances coming out of that one blobular, like cancerous head, and they shotgun blast that thing right up. The hole in the head pipe guy, classic, especially, too, because like you're getting all this real nasty, like kind of slime that's coming off every time, and the audio of that every time. He's just clean hole through his head. We'll show it.
Oh yeah,
and he's just bashing in there. But nasty. I hope you guys, if you've seen this before, I'd love to hear about when the first time you heard about it was, when you first saw it, your interpretations. For those of you who hate this movie, I also want to know what it is you don't like about it and otherwise. And I just mean that genuinely. I don't mean to like call out haters or anything. I just am curious the widespread array of interpretations, feelings, and otherwise on The Void, because it really got my fancies when I first heard about it. Didn't disappoint, and it's been a very fun one to go back to over the years. And as it's distanced and gotten older and stuff, and has certain less relevancy, I guess, or to an extent, I think it's steeped itself into the horror genre, especially body horror, Lovecraftian, and without any direct reference to any of those. There was a lot of homages to that era, to John Carpenter, the works, a lot of these people, of course, then where we said that they're backing in a lot of these 80s influenced material before. It's just a lot of like what they grew up watching, enjoyed, paying homage to, everything that we talk about, how much we love when artists get to do that type of thing, because just the authenticity really shines through in a very celebratory way.
Cut.
The Void. Thank you so much for visiting us, The Void.
The Void.
The Void. Look into the void and you will become the void. Very fun. Thank you so much for stopping by. As always, please don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on those notifications.
Hammer in those comments for us. We want to hear from you continually, continuously, and otherwise.
We want to hear all the things that you have to say about the movies, what movies you want us to review, any of your thoughts,
because at the end of the day, it's interesting what you can find when you go looking.
That was from the movie. If you watch the movie,
you'll get it. You'll pull it.
You'll know. Check out Playground Social, the
hey,
studio.
Thank you very much. PGS Studio is a little bit of a different look this week, but the simplicity is shining bright, we feel. Let us know how you feel about it. There's always going to be a little bit of fluidity to it, maybe a little more influence based on the film that we are reviewing that time around. But we are ever thankful and appreciative to everybody here. Rudy Sheeter back cutting everything up for us, and Andrew Degner making us look good every week. Michael Sinus for the beautiful TV consoles and the TV wall when it's in full effect. But it's a moving orchestra of operations, so things will always be a little bit fluid, and we're excited by that, though.
Yeah, I think I like how it changes up every week, just a little bit.
Yeah,
sometimes a lot bit. But also, if you want to find me, you can check me out at Beep Beep Richie T.
You can find me at MR_Andreessen.
But until next time,
let's stay spooky, y'all.
Stay spooky, y'all. Woo. Look into the void. Hi, void.